Master the mind, transform your life. Understanding the mind, the foundation of personal transformation. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind Engineer. I want to share insight and tools to help you start transforming your life. So, one of the things I want to share today, I want to keep repeating the importance of understanding the mind and not at the level of, just doing affirmations or repeating things that is going to really create a change in your life. Because I tried that. I tried that for many years, and I have found people along these 17 years working with people that they were trying affirmations, visualization, positivity, and so many other different things to try to transform their life, but unfortunately, they were not able to do so. So, as I started studying the mind and started realizing that affirmations, positivity, visualizations, gratitude, those type of things help, they don't really reprogram the mind. When the mind has experienced things in the past that were emotional, maybe things that created pain, rejection, judgment, criticism, different things that we went through growing up in our childhood. Maybe our parents went through a divorce. Our parents, dad was very hard on mom, or mom was very hard on dad, or they were hard on us. Doesn't matter, different emotional things. The mind uses that to keep reinforcing the programs that it has in the subconscious mind. So to be able to master the mind and transform your life, what I first recommend is you start understanding how the mind works. And for that, I'm going to give you many examples to prove to you what I'm saying, right? So it makes it easier to understand. So if you're watching live, just write the word #live. If you're watching replay, #replay in the comments. I would love to hear from you if you're there watching. And so let's start with some examples. When you are having a discussion with someone and you think about A and the other person thinks about B, and you're both trying to make the other person understand your point of view, if somebody starts judging you, making fun of you, laughing at you, rejecting you, whatever, any negative thing that the person is doing to try to prove their point, what do you normally tend to do? Is you feel attacked by somebody in a discussion, what do you tend to do? Most people, not everyone, but most people, their mind tends to shut down. Most people don't like confrontation. Most people don't like being judged, criticized, rejected, laughed at. So their mind tends to shut down. So if somebody does that to you and you tend to shut down, why on earth are you going to think that it's going to work when you do it to yourself? Listen to that again. Why do you keep trying to make changes in your life by beating yourself up, judging yourself, rejecting yourself, or things like that? And a couple of examples, right? Oh, I'm so stupid. I need to stop doing this. Oh, I need to change this. I need to let go of this. This is not working for me. All those kind of languages, what they do is they close the mind. They close the mind for learning. So when you do that, unfortunately, you're setting yourself up for failure, not to transform anything, because the mind doesn't change like that. There might be small groups of people around the world, like David Goggins, I don't know, some other people out there that have found ways by beating themselves up to move forward further in their life. But for most people, that doesn't work. So although David Goggins does amazing motivational talks, different people talking about wake up in the morning, make your bed and start like that, and your entire day is going to change. For most people, that doesn't work. Because again, when something like, I don't know, imagine you want to find another job, you want to find a partner, you want to create your own business, start your own business, you got to start getting out there. If for the mind that is a threat, putting yourself out there in any way, asking for a raise at work, letting go of your partner and, maybe be alone or, start dating somebody, whatever that is, if whatever you're trying to move forward, transform, change is or numbing the pain of the lack of love, or you're seeking for love through that behavior, it is going to make it very, very difficult and close to mission impossible to be able to bring changes. Because I have worked with people that, use food, right? And they were trying so many years, diets, doing exercise, and different things to be able to lose weight. And although they had tried many diets out there, lots of exercise and things like that, nothing seemed to work because they were not aligning their mind deep down with what they wanted to do. An example is I was working with a man that he wanted to start losing weight, but unfortunately he would fall into comfort eating to stop the pain within. So although he wanted to stop eating, whenever he forced himself to stop eating, eventually he had a bounce back and he would eat much more than he should. So maybe for 1, 2, 3 days, he was controlling himself to eat. And then the fourth or the fifth day, he would eat for all those days that he didn't eat. So has these type of things happened to you when you try to stop drinking, stop smoking, start to try to be productive, trying to start doing something, and you find yourself struggling, having setbacks, not being able to truly transform that area of your life? Because normally you're trying to change by numbing the pain. So I'm going to remind you the two main drivers of human behaviors. There are two main drivers of human behaviors. The two main drivers are seeking for love or numbing the pain of the lack of love. Those are the two main human drivers, the two main drivers for the mind, for the ego, for a hurting part, whatever name you want to put it, it doesn't matter. The mind is seeking to protect you from pain, from the lack of love, by seeking for love, or numbing the pain of the lack of love. So a lot of people smoke, drink, eat, pour themselves into work, and they become workaholics, or they, people pleasing, or perfectionism. Those are the symptoms that there's parts of you that are not feeling loved and accepted. And on the other hand, we have the seeking to numb the pain of the lack of love. Seeking to numb the pain of the lack of love could be other behaviors. So we have seeking for love or numbing the pain of the lack of love. When we're seeking for love, as I said, perfectionism, it could be, people pleasing, not setting boundaries, letting people walk all over you. Those are ways of seeking for love, although it could be also numbing the pain of the lack of love, because if I set a boundary, somebody might not like me and it's going to bring pain, so I'm protecting myself. So some of them kind of overlap, but the important thing is when you're smoking, drinking, eating, or things like that, that you find yourself that you're not doing it just because you're hungry or just because blah, blah, blah. You find yourself doing it to try to numb the pain. You're trying to numb the pain of the lack of love. So when we start understanding that there are parts of us within us, just like the movie, what's the movie? And Inside Out, is it? Inside Out, I think it is, where you have this little girl with all her emotions inside of her, where you have joy, shame, you have anxiety, you have anger, you have sadness. I think it's called Inside Out. So if you look at that movie, you're going to see that it is represented really well how inside of our mind we have parts of us pulling in different directions. So what most people do is they go into war with their mind. I need to stop this. I'm stupid. I'm weak. I'm this. I'm that. And they start beating themselves up to try to bring changes. So now imagine that you were with a partner or you had a friend that is beating you constantly up with comments, with words, even physically, maybe, right? What would you do if you have a friend or somebody in your life that is constantly judging you, criticizing you, and rejecting you? Most people are going to walk away. The thing is, you cannot walk away from your mind. You cannot walk away from yourself. You cannot do that. The only way would be, and I don't wish this to anyone, but we're seeing an increase in the numbers, suicide. People are killing themselves to stop the pain. That's the outcome that people find to their inner pain, because they don't find another way, because although they try different things and most techniques, therapies, and many, it has to do with talk, like talk therapy, where they're not really actually learning how to deal with their pain. And I'm not saying that all therapy is like that, but talk therapy, where it is most intellect, it is not really helping, because unfortunately, they're not addressing their emotions. We need to learn how to deal with our emotions. And deeper down, we need to learn how to love and accept every part of us. We need to learn how to love and accept every part of us. The part of us that likes to take care of themselves, the part of us that likes, to go out walking, the part of you that doesn't want to do exercise, the part of you that drinks, the part of you that smokes, the part of you that does comfort eating. Every part of us needs to be loved and accepted, because as those parts of us are being loved and accepted, we're giving them exactly what they needed at the beginning. Every behavior that we have created has been created from seeking for love or numbing the pain of the lack of love. So that means that when we didn't feel loved by our parents, our surroundings, our siblings, at school, that created pain, and the mind started thinking ways to avoid feeling that pain again. So imagine that you spoke up and people laughed at you because of what you said. Your mind is going to say, oh, I'd rather stay quiet. I'm going to play this, shy person so that I don't have to talk and get laughed again. Maybe you tried something, you tried a sport and you were not good at that moment and people laughed at you. So now the mind says, oh, you're not good at sports, don't do any type of sports because it's going to bring pain. Or any area of your life that you're struggling. Some time ago, I was working with a woman that she couldn't go to the gym. And although she tried to go to the gym for now, I think it was like 4 or 5 months, she paid on and off the gym, she would never go. As we started working together one-on-one, I realized, and she remembered that when she was a little kid, she had a really traumatic moment in that same gym she was trying to go to. When she was a little girl, she used to live in that area where she lives now. And that training facility, that, sports center, she used to go as a kid, she had experienced a really traumatic moment there. So she couldn't put it together, keep it together to go back to that place. So she would avoid it at all costs to go back. So she didn't understand why she was not going, and she was beating herself up for paying, right, to go to the gym, but she wouldn't go. So eventually she realized that there was a part of her that had gone through a very traumatic moment in that gym. We worked through that. She was able to release that. She was able to love and accept the part of her. And eventually she was able to start going to the gym. And I've seen this over and over again in these last 17 years, working with thousands of people around the world. It's been now people from 44 countries. So it doesn't matter the country the person comes from. I've worked with people in the US, in Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Australia, New Zealand, Israel, from France, from South Africa, from many other countries around the world. It doesn't matter where the person comes from, how the mind works is exactly the same for each person. The mind is looking to feel loved or to numb the pain of the lack of love. Then the methods it acquires, yes, it depends on your upbringing, on the country you were born. It depends a lot. It varies from family, from town, from countries. Yes, that varies. But how the mind works is the same across the globe. And I have specialized in understanding how the mind works to help people. Doesn't matter your background, your story, what you've tried before. I get so many people that come to me saying, but Tommy, I've tried years of this, years of that, and nothing seems to work. Or, I got to a certain point, but then I got stuck and I cannot move forward. And they feel like a lot of people feeling like, that they had to get used to this kind of life. And I tell all of them that unfortunately that is a partial truth or a lie that they're telling themselves. But the truth is, it's not like that. I'm working with a guy that has social anxiety, and I work with a lot of people like this, that they have social anxiety and they've done therapy and they have been told that they're going to have to get used to that. And I'm sorry, but that is not true. It's all that you need to get used to that. If you heal correctly your past and you reprogram the mind, you rewire and you start retraining the mind, you're able to stop feeling that social anxiety. It starts going away. It is possible, but it is work. We got to heal. We got to connect with our past. We got to connect with past experiences that were painful, that were many times, shoving there in the back, and we don't want to face them. The mind doesn't want to face them because it's protecting you from pain. So what I help people connecting the mind and the heart is to bring love to the mind so that the mind opens up to reveal the painful situation we have gone through, to start healing, releasing what we went through so the mind cannot use that to predict a potential future. Because there's a quote that I use that I say, the mind is going to remember your future. I know it sounds weird, but the mind remembers the past and uses that as a potential future. So the mind is remembering your future. The mind will remember what will happen in the future. Yes, seriously. So as we rewire, reprogram, heal the past, the mind doesn't use that and it starts opening to new possibilities, to new, outcomes. And that's the idea of this work. If this is resonating with you, if you want to learn more how to master the mind and start transforming your life, write the word free underneath in the comments, and we'll share free training with more insight and tools to help you start understanding how the mind works and be able to truly start bringing deep changes in your life. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you next time. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.